This is the first episode of Zen Remedy. You've made it this far, and I know that the world is going really crazy right now, but there is so much hope if you know how to look for it. And what I mean by that is pretty much the title of today's episode, Ascension and Apocalypse. You are the 100th monkey. What I'm referring to in that is this theory or experiment they did that ended up being called the 100th monkey theory. And the way it goes is that in 1952, there was a group of scientists in Japan that were watching and observing some monkeys, some macaque monkeys, and they were feeding them some sweet potatoes. And one little monkey, a little 18-year-old monkey named Amu, decided to wash her sweet potato in the ocean, and she decided it was delicious. And so Amu continued to do this process and tell her mother and all of her friends, and all the little monkeys were now eating their sweet potatoes after washing them. And of course, as all of us primates know, sweet potatoes don't taste good with sand in them. So what was really neat about this is that not all the monkeys did it. What they observed, at least as the story goes, is that 99 monkeys, as the number got to when they stopped observing them for a period of time, were doing it, and then none of the other monkeys were doing it. And so they left for a while. I think it goes 6 years, and then they come back, and now the monkeys are still 99 of them, and then one more monkey, and I'm so sure that the number is arbitrary, and it doesn't matter because it's really the point that whenever there is a critical mass audience, and in this case it was a critical mass audience of 100 monkeys that were doing the same practice, well then all of a sudden all of the monkeys did it. And then it became generational, and then it was just a part of the way that monkeys did it. It became not only intuitive, but instinctual, however you want to call it. And so what we're dealing with right now in this delta between the ascension or apocalypse is that we're all in it together. And it's amazing that there's never been anything like this to where you can't escape it. No matter what level in the hierarchy you are, and no matter what age you are, and no matter what time period or place in the world you are being affected by this. You are being displaced to some degree. So congratulations again, because I honor you, I'm going through this with you. And so I can tell you this also, that I have discovered that I rub people the wrong way right now because I am doing so well. I'm kind of thriving right now, and it's not because I have stock in mask making. It's not because I either own stock in Charmin or have a mountain of toilet paper, because fortunately, I am frugal with the TP, and I'm proud to report that at this stage, April 5th, I think it is, I bought 1 6-pack, and I still think I have 3 rolls left. So I'm doing good with that. And now we restocked the shelves, and so you'll see we're already adapting, and that's what this whole video is going to be about. It's going to be to show you how you can adapt and how you can become calm. And not only that, but why it's so important to be calm right now in this time that we're in. It's actually vital. It's actually that your life depends on how calm you stay right now. And so my life has been a process of learning this calm, this state of Zen. I call it my Jedi training. And it's because I've got a father who is quite unusual, And that's in the very, very best of ways. Hi, Dad. And he started my Jedi training when I was about 13 years old, and he started teaching me about massage and martial arts and all that stuff. And anyways, part of this Jedi training teaches the state of Zen. And that's why we call this Zen Remedies. It's going to be this whole show, and that's the name of my company. You can go to myzenremedy.com if you want to know more. But what Zen is, and of course the philosophers will tell you that Zen is a state that you cannot explain. They tell you these kind of cones of like, Zen, what is the state? What is the sound of one hand clapping? Which, by the way, is this. Okay, so that was kind of weird, but I want you to laugh, and I'm going to tell you again more why it's so important to do that. And why it's to not take this so seriously. Because part of my training is that this may be all an illusion, and regardless of what it is and what's going on, we need to not take it so serious. We need to take it just serious enough, but not so serious, because you can hurt yourself. And so Zen, as best as I would put it into words, is a state of calm alertness that relies upon movement and action based on intuition, wisdom, and experience, being things that you know from the past and things that you can see with your own eyes right now. That I've been trained to act in that sense, to think in that sense, and not to think by conscious effort, which takes a lot of energy. I mean, thinking, which I do a lot, can sometimes be exhaustive, and especially if we ruminate over things, it's very exhausting. And so stop it. We've got to quit ruminating because our lives depend on it. Your immunity is what's important right now. And immunity, for those who didn't have my father growing up, immunity means I'm unity. And you can kind of take that M and you can play around with that because it's all, straight letters. You say, I'm in immunity. I'm in unity, immunity. So we've got to be in unity. We need to be in alignment with what it is that we choose to manifest. So if we want to manifest health, then we need to be in unity in our environments and our relationships with what it is to bring that health. And so one of the most important human resources that we need to get through this, to have an important immunity, healthy bodies that can get rid of these viruses, we need to be able to be strong. And that's going to be in the way that we think. And so I'm going to share with you today some of my Jedi training, some of my Zen training, so that way you don't have to use conscious effort, or even worse than conscious effort. Oh, so much worse than conscious effort, my God. Status quo. Don't be a sheeple. Sheeple. It's a new word. That means people that act like sheep. So don't do that anymore. And so one of the principles that Paps gave me was, I call it, I don't remember what the hell he calls it, but I call it the energy management grid. And he just calls it the grid, I think, but I think it's more applicable and visual this way because that's what it is. From now on, I want you to think about this criteria that I'm going to give you from here on out over everything you decide. And the reason that we're doing this is to be objective, to be pragmatic, to distract ourselves by thinking about something in this fashion. And so that way we don't have to go to these old programs that get us into trouble, In some of the later Zen Remedies, these episodes that we have, we're going to talk about programming and how that affects us. But for right now, what we need to really understand is that the most important thing that we need to do is to stay calm so that we can have more energy, so that way we can have a better immunity. So in this energy management grid, Excuse me, pardon me. I'm drinking, by the way, my SodaStream water and this Vitality stuff that I get with my Young Living essential oils, and it's really, really delicious. And of course, I'll tell you more about that later. So this energy management grid, one of the things I do is drink that so that way I have more electrolytes, and because that's one of the things in it. But we're going to start thinking about everything that we even think about through these 3 criteria. What is it? What does it do? And does it provide me more freedom and abundance, or imprisonment and exhaustion? Think about that in terms of energy. Think about that in terms of anything. But for right now, we're going to be thinking about that in terms of energy. So stay with me, because we're going to get through these 3 criteria, and we're going to talk about it in terms of this coronavirus. We're going to show you how to stay calm, why it's so important to you. We're going to break it down, because not only was I trained, through this Jedi training, but I was also a massage therapy instructor for 13 years. And one of the focuses was AMP, Anatomy and Physiology, and that focus was actually on, I used to love the lymphatic system and immunity. So it's one of the things that's kind of dear to my heart, because it's so dear to our heart. As a matter of fact, that's our thymus gland that's so important. And right now, your thymus gland needs you to not stress out, because it can be affected by, your heart can be affected by this. Certainly we know at the very basic, without having any knowledge in anatomy and physiology, we all know that stress is a killer. So I am not only going to show you why it's so important to stay calm, but I'm going to break it down to you how to, not only through this video, but through the course of all the rest of these programs, to keep your body healthy, not only externally. What I mean by that, what things that you can do in your environment to make sure that you're staying healthy and that you get the very, very best support around you externally. But of course, what's even more important than that, because let's just say that, for example, you were mandated or forced to be stuck in, 4 walls, and not go out and see a lot of other people. Let's just say hypothetically that were the case. You're going to want to be prepared for this kind of stuff. So again, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to break this down into 3 parts. What is it? What does it do? And does it provide more freedom and abundance, more imprisonment and exhaustion?